Hello and welcome to HBN's Crypto Corner for Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. We have quite a few things to talk about, so let's get started. Alabama Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries Division identifies strange-looking quote-unquote chupacabra. The Alabama Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries Division recently shared trail cam photos of a shockingly hairless creature. It's actually a common species afflicted with mange. That's either a coyote or a dog. I'm not sure which. It's Friday. It's a coyote. Okay, I'm seeing it right here. Down below there. It's Friday. That means it's time to marvel at one of the oddest looking critters you've probably ever seen. Chupacabra? The Alabama Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries Division asked in a Facebook post showing an almost completely hairless and pretty darn ugly canine. A chupacabra is a mystical and vampirical creature thought to drink the blood of livestock. As much as we'd love a real cryptozoological confirmation, this goat sucker is actually a coyote severely impacted by mange, the AWFFD explains. The burrowing of mange mites leads to itching and hair loss, and some affected individuals can become quite debilitated and eventually succumb to issues caused by this condition. Others, with a healthy immune system and good nutrition, may eventually overcome all effects of mange and recover. Things aren't looking good for this fellow. The animals can live for an extended period of time with this malady. The AWFFD did not disclose where the trail cam photos were captured. The agency says that mange can be found statewide in Alabama, and that it has received several recent reports of mange in Talladega and Lee counties. Besides coyotes, mange is known to impact deer, foxes, black bears, and more. Mange is a highly contagious affliction, though domestic pets are protected from the disease as long as they receive monthly flea and tick medicine. According to the Cornell Wildlife Health Lab, ivermectin can be used to successfully treat mange, but it's not typically used on free-range wildlife because it needs to be administered repeatedly. So no, this is not a chupacabra. Just like that strange creature, supposedly strange creature, that was filmed by a dash cam several years ago in Texas was not a chupacabra. Probably a mangy coyote or a mangy dog. Or it could have been a mangy coy dog. Who knows? So no, this is not a chupacabra. But I'm glad that the AWFFD explained what this was. Rather than letting the mystery go on undetected. Latest photo from Loch Ness. The Mirror newspaper read this story today on a series of pictures taken by a John Payne from Newport, Wales, up on holiday at Loch Ness. The original story is at this link. Here is the account taken from the paper. Loch Ness Monster captured in new pic after tourist spots long neck in water. A tourist claims to have captured proof of the Loch Ness Monster on camera, with photos showing a quote-unquote long neck. John Payne, 55, was admiring the scenery from a window when he noticed strange movement on the nearby water. The dad of 3 grabbed his camera and managed to grab several pictures which seemed to show a shape on the surface. John, a retail worker from Newport, Wales, said, "I was looking out at the scenery from the window and this huge thing just appeared out of nowhere. I tried to get a picture, but it was gone, and then it popped up again further down the loch. I took another picture and then zoomed in on my camera and waited to see if it would appear again, and it did. It must have been something very large because we were about a mile away from the loch, and I could see it very clearly. You wouldn't have been able to see a bird or anything from that far away. It had to be something large. It was like a huge neck." He went down to the lock later the same day, but said the creature was nowhere to be found, nowhere to be seen. John added, I showed some people at the hotel, and they were all really shocked. It all happened so quickly. It was only there for maybe 2 minutes. I looked at other Nessie pictures, and these do look similar to it. At first, I thought it was a giant fin, but I know there are no dolphins or porpoises in the loch, so I was thinking, what the hell is this thing? It wasn't like it was tied to anything like a buoy, because it kept moving farther away. John was at guest house Fortress Roost on April 9th when he spotted movement on the lake. The article has 3 photographs which were taken at different times, going by the relation between the object and the foreground trees, which are shown below to see much some more detail. The object is definitely moving if we compare its position to the trees in the foreground across the 3 images. I would say it has moved at least 100 meters in the time between snapshots. Mr. Payne said it disappeared twice, and I would say that it coincides with 2 of the treetops in the images, which would obscure the object as it moved from left to right. Here's the first photo, and there's the second photo. By what means is it moving? Now, the initial impression of what we are looking at does give the impression of a long neck and what looks like a back behind it. I zoomed in as far as I could on the 3 pictures for a further comparison below, which is in chronological order from left to right. The appearance of the object does slightly change in each image, though it is hard to say if this was due to seeing a different aspect of it or something else. And this is the images zoomed in. Certainly one thing that stood out was the apparent backwards-looking appearance of the presumed neck. Animals do not tend to swim forwards whilst continually looking backwards at the same time. However, the central image above does look a bit more upright, which made me wonder about rotation. In fact, what looks like a kink in the first image began to make me think this was a log being blown up by the loch by the prevailing southwesterlies. There was a log doing the rounds in Urquhart Bay a few years back which fooled, or rather incentivized, a few people with dubious photos. I took a picture of it at the time when I visited the area in 2017. However, the object here is on the other side of the loch, but I wouldn't discount this being another piece of tree debris. Another theory I have now seen on the internet is that this was a kayaker with a sail attached to the front and the person sitting down to the left. That is also probable and better than the log theory. Either way, the characteristics of the object point away from what the witness claimed it looked like. In fact, when Mr. Payne said it was a mile away but he could see it clearly, that came across as a contradictory statement. Not much is clear at a mile away, I would suggest, but I do not doubt him when he said it had to be larger than a bird and looked like a neck. More could be gleaned if I had the original larger images, so in their absence I will leave it at that. You know, it's interesting. It does look a little bit like a kayaker. So this might not be Nessie after all. Oh well, better luck next time. Search for these mysterious cryptids while hiking or paddling the U.S. And there's Murphy from the North American Bigfoot Center. Have you ever been sitting around a campfire at night, heard a twig break, and wondered if that was a bear, a deer, or maybe something else? Or, when out paddling on a beautiful lake, have you found yourself picturing some humped creature, longer than your kayak, hovering silently beneath you? If you're an outdoorsy person with an open mind and some imagination, here are some cryptids. Animals rumored but never proven to exist, so to search for in your backwoods wandering. You want to bring the best camera you can get to prove to your friends that you're not nuts, and don't scrimp on the telephoto lens. Jake the Alligator Man, Washington State. If you visit the Northwest, you'll probably see Jake the Alligator Man bumper stickers. I admit I have one on my SUV. This mummified half-man, half-alligator is displayed at Marsh's Free Museum on the Long Beach Peninsula in Washington State. While most people dismiss Jake as a one-off taxidermy hoax, I found myself contemplating the existence of more alligator men while I paddleboarded across the peninsula's otherwise serene Loomis Lake State Park. Jake's annual birthday party has been known to include car shows, burlesque performances, and a Bride of Jake competition. Jake, all dressed up and ready to party for the 4th of July. Mothman, West Virginia. The first alleged sighting of this bipedal, moth-like creature with glowing red eyes occurred near Point Pleasant, West Virginia in 1966. Mothman is described as being about 6 feet tall and able to glide at speeds up to 100 miles per hour, making it easy for him to menace folks in cars. Worse, he's been accused of stealing dogs. You can visit the Mothman Museum to learn more about all the sightings. Come for the museum's annual Mothman Festival, or just gawk at the 12-foot-tall Mothman statue. Who knew a cryptid could have such ripped abs? Created by the late Point Pleasant artist Bob Roach. Lizard Man, South Carolina. Legend says the Lizard Man has plagued Bishopville, South Carolina swamps since 1988. He's described as having scaly green skin, blazing red eyes, and 3 fingers with long black claws. Oh, and he's 7 feet tall. Fortunately, he's more interested in vandalizing cars than hurting people. He also leaves enormous 3-toed footprints in the swampy mud. Like all self-respecting reptiles, the cold-blooded lizard man is more active in summer than winter. Jersey Devil, New Jersey. Not only do rattlesnakes and black widows call New Jersey's Pine Barrens Wilderness home, but so does the infamous Jersey Devil. Since the 1700s, eyewitness descriptions of the creature have been mixed, with its height somewhere between 3 and 6 feet tall. It may be kangaroo-esque, with short front legs and long hind legs, bat-like wings, horns, glowing red eyes, and either a horse's head or a dog's face. Everyone agrees this is one ugly and fearsome critter that comes out at night to screech, terrorize folks, and raid chicken coops. Honey Island Swamp Monster, Louisiana. Was 7 foot tall, has webbed feet, long gray hair, yellow eyes, and smells like putrefied trash. It's the Honey Island Swamp Monster, which has been scaring people in Louisiana's St. Tammany Parish since the early 1900s. Some people believe it descended from chimps that escaped a circus train wreck. Whatever it is, if you hike along the Pearl River, beware. This old swamp has an eerie history as a spot for murderers and moonshiners who could disappear into the foggy swamp where they be untrackable by bloodhounds. Paddler, Ohio, Idaho. One of the things that hide in Idaho is Lake Penn Oriole, which is more than 40 miles long and roughly 1,100 feet deep. Boaters and other lake lovers have reported seeing a prehistoric-looking thing in the water since the 1940s. This lake monster, nicknamed the Paddler, is reportedly large, gray, and can move swiftly through the water. Is the Paddler a monster left over from the Jurassic period, or is it new submarine technology developed by the Navy's Acoustic Research Department, which has facilities on the lake? Flathead Lake Monster, Montana. There have been more than 100 sightings of this sea serpent since it was first noticed in 1889. In that year, Captain James C. Kerr and his 100 passengers claimed to see the monster from the steamboat U.S. Grant. Most witnesses agree that the Flathead Lake Monster is 30 to 40 feet long, has steel black eyes, and undulates through the water. Some sightings have included up to 5 monsters frolicking together. In eastern Oregon, Wallowa Lake Monster, Oregon. In eastern Oregon, Native Americans tell the tragic story of a marriage that was supposed to unite the Nez Perce and Blackfeet tribes. Instead, the newlyweds were gobbled down by a sea serpent as they rode across Wallowa Lake. In 1885, a prospector reported seeing a creature with a large flat head, about 10 feet long, as large around as a man's body, and bellowing like a cow. The serpent has been immortalized in a song by Sufjan Stevens called Wallowa Lake Monster. Want help finding the monster? Take a guided kayaking tour with Joe Paddle. Chupacabra. Chupacabra sightings are especially common in Puerto Rico and Mexico, but this vampire/alien/coyote/kangaroo hybrid gets around. It's been rumored to appear in New Mexico, among other U.S. locations. Its name translates as goat sucker because that's what it likes to do. Suck the blood out of livestock. Bigfoot, Pacific Northwest. And finally, we get to cryptid royalty, Bigfoot. This foul-smelling biped is most often sighted in the Pacific Northwest and Northern California. Salish people named this creature Seskak, or wild men, which most people now pronounce as Sasquatch. Is Bigfoot an ape? The missing link? An extraterrestrial? Who knows? But people love the hairy guy or gal, and it's in the famous 1967 footage caught by Roger Patterson and Robert Bob Gimlin in Bluff Creek, California. Bigfoot groupies have plenty of places to celebrate with like-minded cryptozoologists, like the North American Bigfoot Center in Boring, Oregon, or the annual Bigfoot Days in Estes Park, Colorado. Of course, Bigfoot doesn't care about borders. Harrison River Valley in British Columbia, Canada calls itself the land of Sasquatch and knows how to party Bigfoot style. The Canadian town is opening a new and improved Sasquatch Museum later this year. Visitors can come for the annual Sasquatch Days in June, walk the Sasquatch Trail, and hang out at Sasquatch Provincial Park. A life-size Bigfoot model of the North American Bigfoot Center. That's Murphy. So that's very interesting. A lot of different cryptids that some I didn't even know about here in the United States of America. Very cool. Want to see Bigfoot? If you are in Virginia, you better be ready to hit the road. If you think Bigfoot or a Sasquatch is on the loose in the United States, you are not alone. There have been a number of reported Bigfoot encounters in most states. According to experts, however, your best chance of a sighting would be in a remote forested area where the ape-like creatures can prey on wild animals, such as deer. While you might think the criteria is a good match for Virginia, it's actually Washington State that has the most reported Bigfoot encounters. Bonus Insider's team compared eyewitness reports against the latest population data for their report. Per capita, Washington State was followed by Oregon and West Virginia. If you are searching for giant footprints or even the ape men themselves in the wild, you may need to hit the road for the encounter. The state of Washington, 710 reports, 9.12 sightings per 100,000. With 710 Bigfoot sighting reports, Washington State is the most likely place for a Sasquatch encounter. The odds of seeing one are 10,965 to 1, and even better considering that 52.74% of the territory is covered in forest and is home to at least 270,000 deer, white and black-tailed and mule deer combined, as well as another 1,200 Columbian deer. If present, the Sasquatch can also hunt elk, 60,000, along with various small animals. The largest number of reports, 83, are from Pierce County and include various sightings, footprints, and vocalizations and growls heard by witnesses. Oregon, 257 reports, 6.06 sightings per 100,000. At 6.06 reports per 100,000 people, Oregon offers fairly good odds to spotting Bigfoot, 16,500 to 1. Forests are estimated to cover 48.51% of the state territory, while deer and elk, along with plenty of other wild animals, live here. Bigfoot sightings in Oregon date back to the beginning of the 20th century, but the native tribes have legends about wild men that are probably much older. Although not an official symbol of the state, the mythical creature is nearly as popular as the salmon and the beaver for Oregonians and the local tourist industry. With a total of 27 reported sightings over the past 40 years, Clackamas County must be a cryptozoologist's dream. West Virginia, 106 reports, 5.97 sightings per 100,000. Compared to other states, West Virginia does not have a large number of Sasquatch sightings, 106 reports, but due to the fact that fewer people live here, the odds of seeing the hairy beast are quite high, 5.97 cases per capita. Recent sightings in the southern part of the state have gained media attention, while the counties with the most cases are Pendleton, 14, and Randolph, 10. The state has a large population of around 550,000 white-tailed deer. But another important factor, the likelihood of seeing Bigfoot, is the landscape, mountainous and heavily forested. Currently, roughly 79% of the state is covered by forests. While our chances of seeing Bigfoot in Virginia are pretty low, that hasn't stopped Augusta County from celebrating the creature annually at a summer Bigfoot conference and family festival. The last one was held in June 2021 in New Hope. So whether it's a myth or real phenomenon, if you are in Virginia, you probably won't encounter Bigfoot. There is a better chance of seeing Chessie, Virginia's very own sea monster. So actually, this report turned out to be more about Washington, Oregon, and West Virginia than Virginia. But there are reports from Virginia. There have been reports. You just don't hear about them as much as you would, let's say, Washington State or Oregon or West Virginia. One of the more prominent researchers in West Virginia is Dr. Russ Jones. He covers West Virginia and Ohio, and does a pretty darn good job of it, too. Orang Pendek hobbit allegedly caught on video in Indonesia. Real hobbits once inhabited the islands, and some think they may have survived. We know that sister species of hominids once walked the earth with us, but could they still? Video claimed to be from a remote region of Indonesia shows what appears to be a hobbit-sized human dashing out of the forest carrying a spear and then fleeing from the dirt bikers who caught it on camera. The intriguing footage seems to have originated from YouTube in March 2023. It sparked debates and speculation about the possibility of the survival of a species of hobbits or Homo floresiensis, a small-bodied hominid species that was believed to have gone extinct thousands of years ago.
Earlier this month, in a remote area of Indonesia's Aceh province, appears to show a tiny human-like creature carrying a spear running out of the forest as it flees a group of trail bike riders. The clip was uploaded to YouTuber Fredography's channel on March 22nd, and it's really worth a look. Debate is raging online in Indonesia. Is the mysterious humanoid a member of a lost pygmy tribe or some species believed to be extinct?
It doesn't really look hairy, does it? No, it doesn't. It looks like it's got bare skin on it. And it's wearing some sort of a breechcloth. I don't know. It doesn't. No, it does not look like a Orang Pendek.
Video captured earlier this month in a remote area of Indonesia's Aceh province appears to show a tiny human-like creature carrying a spear running out of the forest as it flees a group of trail bike riders. The clip was uploaded to YouTuber Fredography's channel on March 22nd, and it's really worth a look. Debate is raging online in Indonesia. Is the mysterious humanoid a member of a lost pygmy tribe or some species believed to be extinct?
These real-life hobbits stood an average of 3 to 4 feet high and were unknown to archaeologists prior to their fairly recent discovery on the small island of Flores in Indonesia in 2003. We're talking just 20 years ago. Meanwhile, the local indigenous people responded with the equivalent of, "Oh, you mean the Orang Pendek," words that literally translate to the short people. And then archaeologists named them the scientific equivalent of flower people despite having several better options. Interestingly, these tales of smaller species of humans aren't unique to the exotic island chain that birthed giant Komodo dragons and tiny elephants. Recently, claims came out of Wisconsin that an attempt to retrieve a downed drone led to being chased by tiny spear-wielding people described as dwarves or duende by the witnesses. Some people believe that Bigfoot creatures may also be a surviving sister species of hominids that went towards the other end of the size spectrum, growing much larger than humans rather than smaller. Even renowned primatologist Dr. Jane Goodall has said it could be possible for a Neanderthal species to have potentially survived isolated in secret. We aren't saying it's likely that there are two sister hominid species still running around out there, but it would be way cooler than zero sister species surviving with modern humans. It's a good article. I like the article. But I don't think that's an orang pendek. I never heard of orang pendek carrying spears either. So I think it's probably just a small human, or it's some sort of CGI footage. Either way, I don't think it's an orang pendek. Finally, video shows somebody actually chasing after alleged Bigfoot. Capturing clear and compelling footage of the legendary cryptid Bigfoot can be a daunting task. The elusive nature of this mythical creature said to inhabit remote wilderness areas, coupled with the fleeting and often unexpected timing of sightings, can make it incredibly challenging to obtain definitive evidence. When viewing potential Bigfoot video, a critical question to ask is whether you could do better yourself under the circumstances. We tip our hats to a man who chased after one of these creatures to try and get video evidence of a Sasquatch.
Get in the house. Get in the house.
Interesting. Could it actually be actual Sasquatch footage? The man can be heard urgently yelling at unseen people to get in the house, and then, undeterred by danger, takes off into the woods after what he believes to be a Bigfoot creature. He makes no attempt to steady the camera until he catches up with it, so there are several bouts of running and then stopping to show a creature that does, indeed, look like the dark outline of a large and hairy bipedal primate. The urgent quality of running and trying to grab shots whenever the Bigfoot creature is in sight has an authentic feel for everyone who's ever watched cryptid encounters shrieked, "We'll chase after," in video, and shrieked, "We'll chase after it." But then again, that is the same sort of logic that led people to believe the Blair Witch Project was real. Much more convincing is renowned primatologist Jane Goodall's decades of experience studying and advocating for endangered species, and her endorsement of the possibility of an unknown primate like Bigfoot holds significant weight. Her expertise in studying primates and their habitats and her reputation as a respected scientist bring a level of legitimacy to the topic. When someone of Goodall's caliber acknowledges the possibility of an unknown primate species lurking in the wilderness, it adds a new dimension of credibility to the stories and accounts of Bigfoot encounters. Again, this is very interesting footage. Is it of an actual Sasquatch? Maybe. But who knows? It's interesting that the guy decided to chase it rather than, if it was a hoax, if it were a hoax, he wouldn't have chased it. he wouldn't have tried to get a good, better look at it. It's somewhat similar to the Patterson-Gimlin film when Roger actually chased Patty to get a better look at her, which that would seem to eliminate a hoax right there, because he got some pretty good footage, and if it were a hoax, he would not have gotten as close as he did to it, to Patty. I don't think. But that's just me. That thick Bigfoot video has more footage. Recently, some additional footage surfaced of a Bigfoot encounter we covered previously that shows off the extremely muscular build of these legendary cryptid cousins to humanity. In the original footage, the creature was seen as a large, muscular figure with dark fur and a small head, moving with seemingly natural movements. However, it only showed the alleged Bigfoot taking a single step. Additional footage seems to show trail cam still shots that capture the dark, furry hominid from a different angle. Actually, I've heard that that's a hoax. That's supposed to be a hoax. It looks good, but it's a hoax. It's a really good suit, from what I've heard about that. The new angle reveals the potential Bigfoot stepping into a patch of sunlight, showing what resembles the Hulk if covered in a pelt of dark fur instead of green skin. A zoomed-in close-up of the creature shows the texture, which could be fur, but close-up could also resemble thickly padded tactical gear made to resemble a ghillie suit. The increased number of recent Bigfoot sightings has some theorizing that the only way to invade America would be to disguise troops as Bigfoot, aliens, or other fantastic creatures that would be difficult to believe if spotted traversing the land. Others believe these cryptids are the opposite and are using the fantastic as a thinly veiled threat of what the all-too-real humans of the country would do should foreign adversaries try to land on the shores or sneak in through the mountains. The increased number of Bigfoot sightings could also be attributed to potentially increased population numbers. As technology advances and more people capture the elusive mythical primate on camera, then Bigfoot may go the way of the giant squid, catapulting from cryptid to the focus of entire research expeditions. Hey, even leading primatologist Jane Goodall thinks the secret Sasquatch population isn't out of the question. Like I said, again, the footage looks pretty good, but I think it's a hoax. It's been determined to be a hoax, something made for a movie. So back to the drawing board. The Wampus cat cryptid of Appalachia might actually be an animal everybody knows. There's actually nothing stopping these animals from relocating. There is a giant feline set to stalk in the shadows throughout Appalachia. A terrifying beast with teeth that can wrap around a man's head and claws that can impale flesh before shredding it. It's rarely seen but can be heard screaming in the night while it drags lifeless bodies of its prey high into the trees. This elusive creature is known as the Wampus cat, a legendary cryptid that sounds a lot like a mountain lion.
You found yourself on Cryptid Corner, a series where I'll discuss some of our American legends and cryptids, where they came from, and how they developed. And today, we're going to discuss the Wampus cat. The Wampus cat is a myth of either a dog-cat hybrid or a cat-woman hybrid. It is thought of to have originated in Appalachia, around Tennessee, and it's been mentioned as early as the 1920s as having taken down livestock. The myth has two distinct stories around it. One of it is the Americanized version of a Cherokee myth, in which a woman wears a cat mask in order to view a sacred ritual and is then cursed by the tribal elders to walk around as a cat-woman hybrid. The other comes from the Cherokee legend, in which a woman dons a cat mask in order to scare away a Iwa, another monster that was driving her husband insane and attacking the village. And as a gift, she was given the powers to turn into a cat monster and forever protect the people she cared about. The myth still is held in our hearts and mind. This is actually from a high school in Arkansas, Conaway High School, and the Wampus Cat is their mascot. The origin of the name, however, actually comes from cattywampus, and that is an entirely different etymological story.
Interesting. There are varying descriptions of the Wampus Cat, but they all feature a particularly large, lion-like animal, sometimes with hybrid attributes of other animals like a dog or a woman, or glowing eyes. These beasts are said to take down livestock and sometimes drag it up into trees, but rather than concluding mountain lions may populate the area, some believe it has roots in Native American legend. While natives may very well have been warning early settlers of cougars, somehow the Americanized version became that a woman wore a cat mask so she could spy on a sacred ritual, but when she was caught by the tribal elders, they cursed her to live as a half-woman, half-cat cryptid. Interestingly, many folkloric accounts describe it as an underwater panther, which could leap into the water and swim like a giant mink. This is more relevant now that researchers have definitely proved mountain lions are extremely capable swimmers, who can cross up to a mile of water without much difficulty. Previously, it was believed that rivers and other large bodies of water were determined to expanding cougar territories, but as it turns out, there are very few places that determined cat can access. It seems like it should be easily believable that the Wampus Cat was based on mountain lions, seeing the Appalachian Mountains, but strangely they are both considered cryptids. How can cougars be cryptids if we know they exist? For some reason, the government insists that these North American lions are extinct from the eastern coast and that the western population just doesn't expand despite no particular obstacles to doing so. So, the Wampus Cat. Is it just a mountain lion? Is it just a legendary creature? Or is there more to it? Those are very good questions. Maybe somebody will have a good answer one day. Unknown creature stalks moose in Canada. Moose are actually scarier than any cryptid. Moose are big, really big. They aren't just big though, they are also mean and super aggressive. A fully grown moose is about 7 feet just at the shoulder, and the head and antlers stand significantly more. They can weigh up to 1,500 pounds and have basically no predators to fear outside of humans. When a family in Quebec, Canada spotted a moose on the side of the road, they were even more intrigued by the strange and unidentifiable creature lurking just behind the tree line that seemed to be stalking them out, the moose as a predator tracking prey.
In Quebec, Canada, pulled over to the side of the road when they saw a moose about to cross the road. And then they also spotted something very strange. So they started recording. As you can see in this video, something white around the tree line is stalking the moose. A lot of people in the comments on this video are saying that it could be a rake. Other people think that it could just be a curious spirit. And some people think that it's just a lens flare. Whatever it is, it's creepy. What do you think?
It isn't immediately apparent just how massive the moose is, though, due to some misleading perspectives. The road is elevated so it hides the lower legs of the beast, and the grass is so tall that it nearly comes up to the height of the road, which makes the moose seem smaller than it should. Knowing how big the moose is gives an idea of how large the creature stalking it must be. As it is even farther back, it seems to stand above the grass even when crouching. It's too blurry to make out what it is, but some commenters suggest it may be a rake creature of internet creepypasta legend, but it could just as easily be a werewolf, dire wolf, or even something darker that wandered up the mountains of Appalachia. Known predators of moose can include bears or wolves, but they rarely attack fully grown adults and do not stand much chance against one alone. Although wolf packs have been known to have some success. Strangely, orca whales have also been documented attacking moose who venture too far into the water. That doesn't help narrow down what creature might be looking to dine on the moose in the video, though, but anything that isn't afraid of moose is even more terrifying for that fact. Now, I've seen this particular footage before. I think it was on Paranormal Caught on Camera on the Travel Channel. And they said it was a possible Wendigo, possibly. I don't know about that, but it's a creepy looking creature, whatever it is. Creepy looking critter. Australians see this animal surprisingly often, despite it being officially extinct. The world really wants thylacines back. The Tasmanian tiger, also known as the Tasmanian wolf or a thylacine, is an allegedly extinct large marsupial that resembles a mixture of a wolf and a tiger, with its canine-like body covered in dark banded stripes. Despite decades of scientific consensus that the last known specimen had perished, there are continued accounts of reported thylacine sightings that continue to emerge to this day, painting a picture of a creature that may still roam the remote wilderness of Tasmania, Australia, and perhaps even beyond. Could the thylacine truly be extinct, or does it still lurk hidden from human sight in the unpopulated realms of our modern world? I'll play that again for you guys. Interesting photograph. In recent years, the intrigue surrounding the thylacine has been increasingly fueled by alleged sightings and photographs that purport to prove the existence of this long-lost species. One such photograph, taken in 2019, claimed to be from Clifton Springs, Australia, has sparked fervent debate among experts and enthusiasts alike for its convincing appearance. The image depicts a mysterious animal resembling a thylacine standing on a mountainside near a fallen tree and has garnered continued attention for its seeming veracity. Skeptics suggest the creature in the photograph could be a dingo, the canine that filled the ecological niche left by the thylacine. These dogs are a light tan color with a fluffy tail and no stripes. While the shape may be similar, the animal shown in the photograph is darker with a thin and whip-like tail. Although it is difficult to see stripes as the picture is a bit blurry. Even if the Tasmanian tiger is gone, it may not be forever. At least one company is working to resurrect or de-extinct the thylacine, along with woolly mammoths and dodo birds. While this seems unlikely to eventually lead to some Jurassic Park-style disaster, we do appreciate that they have started with less intimidating animals than velociraptors or Tyrannosaurus rex. So, are people still seeing thylacines, Tasmanian tigers? That's a good question. It's a really good question. You know, I've reported on thylacines several times on HBM's Crypto Corner, and we still have not got a definitive answer yet, or whether they still exist or not. Who knows? Maybe one day we will hear about something about this. Maybe we'll hear that yes, the thylacine is not extinct as many thought it was. Off the Page podcast, following the trail of a Sasquatch researcher. Dr. John Bindernagel was known for his passionate scientific dedication to researching Sasquatch. He was a scientist, a wildlife biologist, worked for the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, and conducted Sasquatch research out of the Comox Valley. Dr. John Bindernagel was known, infamously, throughout the scientific community for his passionate dedication to researching the mysterious creature, and was famously known throughout the Bigfoot community. Although Bindernagel passed away in 2018, one of his closest friends and author, Terrence James, recently completed a biography about his friend entitled Sasquatch Discovered. The biography of Dr. John Bindernagel, set to be released this summer, is the next guest on the Records Off the Page podcast, set to be released April 20th. James speaks about the dedication of his friend of 25 years had towards his scientific research to prove the existence of Sasquatch and the constant dismissal he received from the scientific community. John's hypothesis was that Sasquatch was North America's great ape, and since nobody had produced a cadaver, and they didn't have any scientific evidence of there being a great ape in North America, they just dismissed everything, explained James on the podcast. But John was first and foremost a wildlife biologist, and he looked at evidence, and footprint evidence was one of the things that gave testimony to any animal being in an area. Mindernagel found tracks in Strathcona Park. One of the reasons why he moved into the Comox Valley is it was an area rich in Sasquatch sightings. Despite the years he spent attending conferences and producing research, James said his friend was frustrated that his scientific peers and refused to give him a chance to speak about his work. There were gatekeepers, scientific peers who would say no because there's no evidence to support that Sasquatch exists, so he was prevented from talking at scientific conferences. However, he had a great following, particularly in the U.S. among Bigfooters, and they invited him to many conferences as a guest speaker. And he went because it was his way of keeping abreast of what research was actually happening. It wasn't the academics or the scientists that were doing the research. It was lay people that were out in the woods, and now they're out there with cameras, and that's where the real information is coming from, not from the PhD scientists. As for the scientists who wouldn't support him, James says Mindernagel always had the backs of those who wouldn't support him. He never labeled them or smeared them in public. He had their backs and covered for them, even though they were not supporting him. That's the type of guy he was. As for how James believes Mindernagel's lifetime of work will be vindicated, you have to listen to the podcast to find out. And then there's links to how you can download the actual episode. I am glad to see that Dr. Mindernagel's research is continuing, even with his passing. Folks like Thomas Steenberg and others in British Columbia are continuing Dr. Mindernagel's research for him. It's encouraging to see it. AI has revealed what infamous Bigfoot footage really is. It's footage that has fascinated conspiracy theorists for decades. But artificial intelligence is making people look at the most famous alleged sighting of Bigfoot in a new light. Back in 1967, a clip known as the Patterson-Gimlin film claimed to show the mysterious creature, also known as Sasquatch, walking through the Six Rivers National Forest in California. Roger Patterson and Robert Gimlin shot a figure moving in the woods in low-resolution footage and claimed that they discovered proof of the urban legend known as Bigfoot. The pair claimed at the time they tracked the figure before setting up filming equipment and capturing grainy video, which looks briefly at the camera. Well, first of all, it's not video, it was shot on film, not video. While it was dismissed by the scientific community at the time and seen as a hoax by most people, it's been poured over by conspiracy theorists ever since. It's been stabilized many times since, but new artificial intelligence has been used to present a clearer image than ever before. The clip has been stabilized and degrained, and the results are clearer than ever. Social media user Rowan Chung often shares the latest developments in the world of artificial intelligence, and he posted the footage. Just as many conspiracists will have feared, the newly created footage proves that it was clearly just a guy in a gorilla costume all along. Oh, this writer is not biased at all. No, not at all. This writer is not biased at all. Yes, we all knew that already, but this newly developed footage offers the clearest look at an infamous piece of footage yet, and people were quick to react on social media. Nope, that's just a dude on his way to a costume party, one wrote. Another said, this is the AI work we needed. One more said, just some bro out for a stroll, so it's a dude in a gorilla suit, a comment read. Artificial intelligence, it seems, has the power to surprise us when we least expect it. It's not the first time Bigfoot has made headlines this year after people claim to have discovered a sighting via Google Maps. Well, it's obvious that this author, Harry Fletcher, is pretty biased against the PG film, probably against Bigfoot in general. But this is what we have to deal with, unfortunately. We have to deal with this sort of scrutiny from the skeptics. Well, skeptics aren't always right, as we all know. Now, here's something interesting. Sasquatch sightings in western British Columbia and southern British Columbia. All the way up into the Yukon territories. There are reports. You guys can check this map out for yourself. And of course, all links are going to be included below, obviously. But you guys can check this out for yourself. Pretty cool stuff. Sasquatch Legend Meets Science 2 will be coming very soon. Possibly by the end of 2023. Legend Meets Science 2 film sequel, a Bigfoot documentary. There's a lot to read on this page. I'm not going to read everything. But I will let you take a look at the trailer.
In the depths of our world's most remote and uncharted forests, an enigma has captivated the hearts and minds of people for generations. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti. This legendary creature has been known by many names, but its existence remains one of the greatest mysteries of our time. Now we invite you on a thrilling journey into the unknown with Legend Meets Science 2, a groundbreaking documentary that will change everything you thought you knew about Bigfoot. Join us as we uncover never-before-seen strategies and cutting-edge technology that could finally reveal the truth about this elusive creature. Witness exclusive footage captured using innovative camera traps designed specifically for this enigmatic being. But what makes these camera traps so unique? And how will they revolutionize our understanding of Bigfoot? Discover how an ingenious invention, a remote-controlled interactive robot, might change everything we know about this mysterious creature. Explore fascinating theories behind Bigfoot's extraordinary abilities and uncanny ability to evade capture. Could certain individuals hold the key to finally capturing this mysterious creature on film? Delve into cutting-edge research and analysis that could provide vital clues about this enigmatic being. Separate fact from fiction as we examine popular hoaxes and analyze what sets genuine evidence apart. Join experts as they unravel astonishing insights into the true nature of Bigfoot. Will these findings change our perception of this legendary creature forever? From analyzing footprints and dental evidence to exploring Bigfoot's diet, migration patterns, and vocalizations, our groundbreaking documentary will leave you questioning everything you thought was possible. By supporting our groundbreaking documentary film series, Legend Meets Science 2, you'll not only be part of a monumental quest for knowledge, but also receive incredible rewards that will make your experience even more unforgettable. As a token of our immense gratitude, we'll immortalize your name in the credits of our groundbreaking documentary. You'll forever be linked to this epic journey as we explore the enigmatic world of Sasquatch together. Pledge your support now, and you'll receive 3 signed DVDs, Legend Meets Science and Legend Meets Science 2 Part 1 and Part 2. Plus, proudly display 2 stunning signed posters from both films, an eye-catching reminder of your contribution to this extraordinary project. Immerse yourself in captivating stories, fascinating research, and mind-blowing discoveries with our collection of 14 exclusive ebooks. From Sasquatch Central to the Freeman Bigfoot Files, these riveting reads will captivate your imagination and fuel your quest for knowledge. Be the first to get the companion ebook for Legend Meets Science 2, written by anthropologist Dr. Jeff Meldrum. Pledge at this level, and you'll receive build kits for both the Sasquatch Outpost and the Bigfoot Museum. Create a personal tribute to these legendary creatures while showcasing your commitment to uncovering their secrets. Join us for an exciting private Q&A webinar on Untold Radio AM, where we'll discuss the latest findings and answer your burning questions. Plus, enjoy a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to spend 60 minutes one-on-one with documentary producer Doug Hychek, picking his brain and learning from his vast experience in the field. Show off your love for Sasquatch with an exclusive Legend Meets Science 2 t-shirt and signed hat. Plus, receive an executive producer credit for Legend Meets Science 2, showcasing your dedication to bringing this incredible story to life. This is it, the pinnacle of rewards. Pledge at this level and receive a one-off high-powered custom-built Sasquatch Research electric bike. Pick up only. Then spend a day with Doug Hychek himself, training on the bike, enjoying lunch together, and embarking on an unforgettable bike ride as you explore the world of Sasquatch like never before. Don't miss out on these amazing rewards. The time to act is now. Pledge your support and help us bring the truth about Sasquatch to light. Meet Doug Hychek, the visionary filmmaker who has captivated audiences with his groundbreaking work in wildlife research and cryptozoology. With over 270 TV features to his name, including the hit series Monster Quest on the History Channel, Doug is a respected industry leader, credentialed technologist, camera systems inventor, and wildlife researcher. Doug has documented never-before-seen behaviors in animals such as black bears, beavers, fish, and invertebrates. His team even captured the first ever footage of a free-swimming true giant squid in its natural environment for the History Channel. But Doug's true passion lies in unraveling the mystery of Bigfoot. With decades of experience researching both known animals and yet-to-be-proven cryptids, he is uniquely positioned to deliver a captivating documentary that explores this enigmatic world. Introducing Scott Hoffman, an award-winning cameraman with an unyielding passion for capturing the extraordinary. Having traversed through 38 countries in search of breathtaking footage, Scott brings unparalleled expertise to this project. Armed with state-of-the-art 6K and 8K RED digital cinema cameras and an extensive array of camera movement tools, Scott is ready to capture unprecedented footage that will leave audiences speechless. Together, Doug Hychek and Scott Hoffman form an unstoppable team, a perfect blend of passion, expertise, and technological prowess. They are more than qualified to bring this ultimate Bigfoot documentary to life, but they need your help. Support their Kickstarter campaign today and join them on this extraordinary journey as they uncover the truth about Bigfoot. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime?
And that's the trailer. And it's a Kickstarter campaign, by the way. Like I say, there's quite a bit of reading involved. Now, I'm not going to read all of it. You guys can peruse the page for yourself and read the stuff for yourself. I hope that it does well. I hope that they're able to reach their goal. We got about 30 days. They got about 30 days to do it. 28 days, in fact, they have. So I hope they're able to get this done. A lot of great rewards for anybody who's going to back this. Yes, the link will be below for this. For everything that I'm talking about here. 5th grade class successfully lobbies for Sasquatch protection in Washington State. For the 2nd year in a row, a county in Washington State has declared itself a refuge for Sasquatch after being lobbied by a class of 5th graders. The brainchild of teacher Andrea Andrews of the Lincoln Elementary School in the city of Holcomb. The unique civics lesson saw her students research the famed cryptid and then pen a letter to the local government body in which they argued that the creature needs to be recognized and protected. In 2022, her class convinced the Grays Harbor County Board of Commissioners to unanimously pass a resolution wherein the county was decreed to be just such a Sasquatch refuge area. Based on that success, Andrews brought the lesson back this year in hopes of extending their efforts. The 2023 installment of the project reportedly culminated earlier this month at a meeting of the Clallam County Commissioners, wherein Andrews' class appeared before the board via Zoom and made the case for Bigfoot. In response, local officials passed a resolution observing that legends, sightings, research, investigation, and recognition by other municipalities support the notion that Sasquatch exists. The proclamation goes on to posit that if Bigfoot exists, then it is likely an endangered species by virtue of the sparsity of sightings, and as such, the creature should be protected. With that in mind, the board officially declared the county to be a refuge for Sasquatch and requested that all citizens recognize the creature's newfound protected status. While the resolution may not be legally binding in the sense that there is no specific punishment for any ne'er-do-wells who may somehow harm Bigfoot, the proclamation provided the 5th graders with a valuable lesson on local government. To that end, Andrews celebrated her students' success by marveling that my class did it again. 5th graders are saving Sasquatch one county at a time. But, I'm wondering how much good this will do for a determined hunter, perhaps, to decide to take a pot shot at a Sasquatch in these areas. Grover Krantz said, it's like trying to protect unicorns. It's like trying to protect leprechauns. I'm not sure if he said it's trying to protect leprechauns, but it is very similar to trying to protect unicorns and leprechauns. Mythical creatures. I mean, Sasquatch are considered mythical creatures. So, how much can be done to a hunter that actually brings a Sasquatch in? I don't know. It doesn't seem like very much. Finally, I'm going to include a couple of links to a couple of videos. One is Legend of the SoCal Sasquatch from Small Town Monsters. A fellow named Eli Watson hosts it. It's really well done. It has Daniel Perez, Cliff Barackman, and Matt Moneymaker in it. Now, Southern California may not be the greatest Sasquatch haven that you might think of, but there are reports from that area. And John Green wrote a chapter in his book, Sasquatch the Apes Among Us, about the Southern California Sasquatch. And it's actually part of a series. The Legend of the SoCal Sasquatch is part of a series Eli is hosting. It's pretty good. It's good stuff. Also including a link to the latest Bigfoot influencers, which talks to Mark Marcel, the historian of the Ape Canyon incident. And hard to believe that's been almost 100 years next year since that happened. So I hope you guys enjoy those. And that's good there for this week. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, but I always mean it. And I will continue to do this as long as you guys want me to. And hey, until next week, y'all be good or be good at. This is Mitch Williams, Crypto Corner.